Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. And dear brothers and sisters, welcome to our new series that we started in Ramadan called The Young Muslim Show. And today we have a special guest. And what we're going to do at the very beginning, would you like to know the topic? I'm not going to tell you now before we know who is going to be our guest speaker, inshallah. So we have Brother Nahidul Islam, and I'm going to ask him kindly to introduce himself in a few minutes, inshallah. Welcome to the show.
Assalamu alaikum everyone. I'm Nahidul Islam. Most of the people knows me as Nahid. So I'm in first year university. I just finished my first year university. And my plan is to become a dentist. So inshallah I'll work hard to get that, become dentist. And my favorite hobbies, and then basically I like to play sports a lot. And that's about it.
Yeah. Okay, where are you originally from?
I'm from Bangladesh.
And how old are you?
Almost 19. Next month I'll turn 19 years.
Excellent. So guaranteed we'll have you a wife, inshallah, after the show. Okay, so what's the topic of today? The topic of today is a man is known by the company he or she keeps. Basically, friendship. What's friendship? For me as a Muslim, what are the characteristics, the qualities that I should have to be a good friend? Also, for me as a Muslim, how do I choose my friends? What are the qualities and the characteristics that should be there in my friend? What's the importance of friendship? Does it really affect me, affect my choices, affect my life? Did the Prophet ﷺ talk about friendship? Did Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the Quran talk about friendship? And as a student, whether I'm at school or at the university, who should I take as my friends? And we have also people who belong to both genders. Are there limits when it comes to having friendship with them? So these are some of the questions, inshallah, that we're going to be answering in this halaqah, inshallah, with Brother Nahidul Islam. So to start with, we would like you to define to us what is the meaning of friendship to you.
So to me, as friendship is being comfortable around each other. So you share your ideas to your friend and then trusting them. And basically you have similar hobbies. You like to play sports together. You like to hang out together, and then you share your personal opinion. You don't share it with your parents, obviously. Most of the people do it with their friends, not parents. And without friends, I feel life is impossible to me. So yeah.
Amazing. You touched upon something very, very sensitive. You said, I will trust my friends with my secrets, not with my parents. So that leads me to ask you, I know that at the age of maybe between 10 to 17 or something, teenage, the problem is, if the parents fail to have that bond, that connection with their children, those teenagers, they go and they live in their own cave, in their shell, and they don't talk that much to their parents, but they will open up when it comes to their friends. So based on that, tell me, out of your experience and the experience also of your friends that you know, what are the things that parents should do to win and to befriend their children at that critical age?
So in my opinion, what should parents do? Because when you are young, around 3 to 4 years old, that time your friend, basically you like your parents, right? You would like to share everything to your parents. But when you grow older, the distance is basically coming in the parents and the children, because parents are busy. They don't give their children time. And then if children if I have a question, if I go to my parents and they are busy, they don't want to listen to me. And also it's just an example, not to take it seriously. So
no, I'm not talking personal, I'm saying
So if I ask him a question before I finishing a question, he would direct jump hey, don't do that, or like it's haram what you did. So next time, like when he will like think like I should share to my uh, parents about something, he'll think, oh, last time I said, and all the time he didn't listen to me, and he jumped back, and then he was kind of like angry at me. So this time I will decide not to like share anything with him. I'll rather share with my friends. So that's how it's like get the distance between friends and then parents. Yeah.
Excellent. So here are some tips to the parents watching us now. So Naveed Islam is counseling you right now, and he's telling you one important fact, which is when kids are young, the entire world revolves around you because they're at home. They don't see anyone, so they trust you, they share everything with you. And after that, once they go out of the house and then they go to school, then there's another world they're exposed to, which is, friends and classmates, right?
Yeah.
And then they find out that their friends are listening to them. Oh my God, when I went to my dad to share something with him when I was at home, and he started yelling at me, like, don't, like, can't you see, like, I'm on my phone? Like, give me some space. I'm like, okay. So your child will try one time, two times, three times, and listen to the word that Nahidul Islam said. He said, parents are busy. He didn't say doctors or lawyers or accountants or like plumbers. He didn't say your job. He said parents are busy. Wake up, parents. Kids are looking for parents at home. They're not looking for you as an accountant or as a professional. So if you don't give quality time, and that's exactly, again, I'm just quoting Nahid when he said, they don't give you, they give you time because they're there, physically they're there. But I think he meant quality time where you start a conversation, and a conversation is a two-way traffic. Look what he said. He said, subhanallah, they start talking to you and you don't even listen. You jump to conclusion, or it's like, haram. No, you can't do that. We're Muslims. So the kids grow with that guilt, like, Islam means haram. Islam means no. But subhanallah, if we dig deep into the reality, we'll find everything in Islam is halal. What's haram is that much. But we give our kids the bad impression that everything is haram in Islam. No. If you go and read the Quran and the Sunnah, you'll find the default is everything is halal, except very little things. And they are meant to protect us. So I hope that we benefit from that answer, because really it impressed me that we should give quality time. We should listen to our kids. We should try to befriend them. They're coming, offering their friendship, but then you yell at them. Stop that angry statements. Stop that lecture when your kid comes to you. It's like, Dad, I want to ask you a question. Hold on. I talk. You listen. And then you give a lecture of 1 hour. You know what they're doing? They're doing this. Talk to my hand. Are you done? Yeah. Can I go to my room? You don't have anything to say back? No, thank you. I just want to go back to my cave. Would you like that? And then you come to the Imam. Sheikh, where's your magical stick? My son doesn't talk to me. Really? How old is he? He's young, mashallah, 17. What have you done during the last 17 years? I was yelling at him. Alhamdulillah. I was giving him a lecture. And the problem is, I was busy outside making money for him. You have to listen to this, please. If we really want to stop these issues with our kids, if we want them to open up. Perfect. Now, let me talk to you as a student at the university.
Yeah.
What should attract me to come to you and accept you as a friend? What are the qualities that you have as a person so that I can come and be attracted to you as a friend?
Okay. So basically, if I'm looking for a friend in a university, right, I will definitely look for like if he's a trustworthy or not. Is he like helpful? Is he a good person? Like there's people like, well, not all the peoples are good. There's some bad side and the good side. Yeah, like I'll look for those qualities, like whatever, like friend, helpful, trustworthy, and then if they have like similar kind of ideas what I'm thinking, and then like hobbies they like to do in spare time, maybe I can go and do it with them instead of being alone. So those are the things I would really like to have in my friends.
Okay, let me summarize again. So I should be looking for somebody who has some mutual interest like me. Why? Because, we will have free time, so we want to enjoy that time together. Number two, he said he should be trustworthy, or she should be trustworthy, meaning that a friend, you should trust them with your secrets. Otherwise, something wrong will happen with that relationship. And also, after having mutual interests and being trustworthy, he said they should be helpful. A friend in need is a friend indeed. Because some people, mashallah, they befriend you because they need you. But when you need them, they're not there for you. So it has to be, again, it has to work both ways. I'm there for you when you need me. You should be there when I need you also. So you mentioned something very important at the beginning. You said, I can't imagine life without friends. So, what is the importance of friendship? What role does it play in your life?
So we are people, right? And being a human being, we are social. We like to talk. We like to make friends. We like to meet new people, right? So basically, if you don't have a friend, if you're in university, your parents are not with you, right? Your parents, your friends are. So you're gonna basically share with them all the things. Like you're gonna get help from them. They're gonna help you to get good marks if they're good friends, obviously. So yeah, those are the things I'll look. And also my friends, because my life is impossible without a friend, because right now I feel like they're close to me. So basically, if I go to uh, outside, I go with my friends, not alone, because I have friends, right? But if I didn't have any friends, then I will feel bored, right? Even our prophet said, you're bored, if you're bored and alone, it's better to have a good friend. But boredness is way better than a bad friend. So I would like to have good friends and then hang out, and then why not? If Islam is allowing me, obviously it is.
Excellent. So basically, friendship is very important because it impacts my life. And I need somebody to stay away out of boredom, and I need somebody who will even help me. And there is nothing wrong if they help me, in my studies. Even I know we have to be friends, and we have to be brothers for the sake of God. And if we do that, that love for the sake of God could be a reason for you to be in a very high position, because in Jannah, the Prophet ﷺ said, Al-mutahabbuna fillah, those who love one another for the sake of Allah, ala manabira min nur. They're going to be on pulpits of light in Jannah. يَغْبِطُهُمُ النَّبِيِّ. So the prophets will be envious of them. They're going to say, who are these people? And the only thing that they had in this dunya is that they loved each other for the sake of Allah. But that does not take away from the fact that we can help each other also in the dunya. Because for me to be successful in my deen, it does not contradict the fact that I can be also successful in my dunya, in my life, right? That's very important. But you know what? The Prophet ﷺ gave a very nice analogy. He said, when you have a friend, you have a friend, either somebody who's like a mosque, seller, like a perfume seller,
yeah,
or a blacksmith. So if you sit with a mosque seller, what do you expect from them? You're gonna get buy something which smells good, which is perfume,
yeah,
or at least you'll smell something good.
yeah.
But if your friend like a blacksmith, what are you gonna smell? Smoke and bad stuff.
Yep.
And either, subhanallah, that will fall into your garment and it will burn it. So based on the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, can you just elaborate on this? Because you might have good friends and you might have bad friends. What's your advice for the young people watching us?
So my good friends, if I have just saying I have a group of friends, right? We are going somewhere, in the car, and there's azan. Obviously, the good friends gonna say, "Hey, let's go to the masjid and pray, and let's go out again," right? So I in the car, no one's gonna say a single word. Often, they're not gonna say, hey, "I'm not gonna pray. You go and pray," because my all the friends are Muslim. Usually I go hang out with them, so they won't say that. But if there is a good friend missing, right? the bad friends gonna listen to the adhan, but they're not gonna say, "Hey, let's go and pray." They're gonna be like, "Let's go wherever we are going. Let's finish the work and we'll come back and pray." But after that, they're not gonna pray, and maybe they will forget. It's not a bad friend. I would say it's like they like to pray a little bit later than what like time. Also, like a bad friends can really hurt your life, because I'm not I would like to give example. It's not a bad friend or anything. So every like in the world, there's lots of people who smokes, right? So like how did they learn the smoking? From Allah teach them? No. Their parents? No. Or if their parents are smoking, they're never gonna like teach them, "Hey son, this is how you're gonna smoke."
With the right hand and say Bismillah,
Yeah. But how they learn? From school, from friends. Maybe they tried once, twice.
Friend.
Yeah, once, twice. Now they are addicted to it. Now they can't even leave. So right now, like they're hurting themselves. Also, like it's really dangerous for their life too, right? So this is one example. And what do you? That's it, I think.
MashaAllah, MashaAllah. Yeah. One of our viewers, MashaAllah, she shared something with us which is very important. Should the parents focus on connection with the kids or correction of the kids?
They should do both.
But what should come first?
Connection.
Exactly.
So when you connect to your children, right, then he or she will come and talk to you about the problems. If you're not connected, they're not gonna come and say, "Hey, Dad, what happened?" If you yell at them, well, okay, just say he was in a bad, like he was fighting or he got beat up. He came home, and like obviously, if you see his face is bleeding, before they listen to something, they're gonna come, "What did you do?" And they're gonna slap him and then do whatever they want. But if you're connected to your children, they're gonna go slowly, "What happened? What happened? Like, what you did?" They're gonna like say nicely, and then basically wait what he says, and then they'll take action, and they'll tell the children next time, "Don't do that. It's not like what you should do. You're supposed to do that." Yeah.
MashaAllah. When we go to the Quran, we find very good examples, subhanAllah, of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talking to us about parenting, the topic that we're talking about, like again, the friendship between the parents and the kids. Look at that dialogue between Yusuf alayhi salam and his father Yaqub. Look at the way even they're talking to each other. Yusuf alayhi salam, the fact that he's sharing a dream, something very private, with his dad, like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That tells you how close the relationship, was, and how Yaqub alayhi salam focused on connection rather than correction, right? So he came to me and said, "Ya abati inni ra'ayt." Look at the way he's addressing him. He didn't say Ya abi. Ya abi means my dad, but Ya abati, that diminutive form in the Arabic grammar, it manifests the closeness and the love and the deep love between the child and the parent. So he's saying, "My dear father." And look again, the way Yaqub talked back to him, he said, "Ya bunay." He didn't say Ya ibni. Ya ibni means my son. But Ya bunay, my dear little son. You wouldn't see this in the English translation of the meaning of the Quran. These like subtle, subhanAllah, emotions and expression of love in the translation. And you will notice this in the Quran, subhanAllah. Whenever Allah uses bunay, it means the relationship is very close between the son and the father. But if he says ibni, it means there is something wrong. And another example is Ibrahim alayhi salam and Ismail. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, قال يا بني إني أرى في المنام أني أذبحك. He said, "Oh my dear little son." He didn't say Ya ibni, he said Ya bunay. Closeness again, right? And in response, what did Ismail say? He said, قال يا أبت فعل ما تؤمر. He didn't say Ya abi, he said Ya abati. The opposite scenario is Nuh alayhi salam and his son, who turned out to be a disbeliever. When even Nuh talked to Allah, he said, "Inna bini min ahli." He couldn't even say to Allah, "Inna bunayya min ahli." So that means, like, subhanAllah, there's something wrong there.
Yeah.
Okay? Excellent. So we should go back to the Quran and study those examples because they are there and they're meant to teach us. So we should build the relationship with the kids. Then later on, in a very gentle way and in a very positive, inclusive way, we can correct them, right? Because sometimes the parents, will point fingers all the time, like, You're wrong. Why did you do this? But instead of saying, like, why didn't you pray? What if you come to them and say, if you pray, Allah will love you. But the opposite scenario that parents do at home, you're going to hellfire, inshallah. You don't pray, you will enjoy hellfire. You'll be there with shushu, inshallah. Come on, be positive, right? Be inclusive. Don't say, hey, you, why don't you do this? Why don't you say, hey, my dear little son, give him a nickname. The Prophet ﷺ used to call Aisha Abdullah. She doesn't have children, but he used to call her, the mother of Abdullah. The Sahaba used to call their kids, Aba Abdullah, Aba Abdul Rahman, a child. And they called them the father of Abdul Rahman, the father of Abdullah. They're still children, but in the hope that they're going to, live a long life, they're going to get married, and they're going to have, children. So being positive, being inclusive works with God when it comes to relationship between the parents and the kids. Okay. Moving on, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in Surah Al-Furqan, Surah number 25, ayat 27 and 28 and 29, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is talking about friends. And some people will come on the day of judgment and they will have so much regret. وَيَوْمَ يَعَضُّ الظَّالِمُ عَلَى يَدَيْهِ يَقُولُ يَا لَيْتَنِي اتَّخَذْتُ مَعَ الرَّسُولِ سَبِيلًا. Look, the description of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when we say يَعُضُّ عَلَى إِصْبَعِ النَّدَمِ, you do this. When you feel regret, that's what you do. But subhanAllah, the analogy Allah is giving, He said, He's not going to be like biting over one finger. He said like yaday, both hands, which shows subhanAllah exaggeration in the amount of regret that this person will have. They would say, I wish I have followed the way of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Why? Ya waylata. He's going to call Wail. Wail is a valley in Jahannam. It's a spot in Jahannam. Jahannam itself seeks refuge with Allah from the severe punishment in that spot in hellfire. Can you imagine? As if He's saying, I'm coming to you anyway, so please come to me because I can't wait. When you're waiting for a punishment, it's so much stress, right? So as if He's saying, come to me, Ya waylata. ليتني لم أتخذ فلانا خليلا. I wish I hadn't taken so and so for a friend. Why? لقد أضلني عن الذكر بعد إذ جاءني. He misguided me after the reminder came to me, right? وكان الشيطان للإنسان خذولا. And shaitan will always let man down. And shaitan here could be shaitan amongst human beings, and that's what we're talking about, friends, right? So if you can tell me like some examples of some people, I'm not saying some people that or like stories of people around you, of people you have seen, whether at high school, junior high, or at the university, who have taken bad friends and they have gone to the extreme.
So in high school, when I was in grade 9, I had really good friends, like couple of friends.
Yeah.
So that time they were in grade 10 or 11, so they were older than me. So I used to go with them, and then sometimes I would see they went with some friends. They're not that good. So they're not Muslim, first of all. So they would smoke outside of the school. Also, like later on, they got kicked out from school because they found drugs in their bags. So they really turned, like basically. So yeah, whenever I try to invite them into our Quran class and everything, because we go to Quran class, it's like by Muslim Circle of Canada. And also like we had a youth program, I invited them, but they were like, no man, you go ahead and this and that. But they followed their friends, and then they were like keeping distance from me because I was keep telling them those things. So all of a sudden now they got kicked out from the school. Also, like they're banned from school, they can't go to school anymore because they found drugs, guns, so many. Even like they're from my country, so they came recently, and then they got really rejected. Yeah.
So again, the Prophet ﷺ said, "Al-mar'u ala dini khalili, falyanzur ahadukum man yukhalil." You'll be of the same religion, the same manners, the same behavior of your friend. So you have to be very careful when you select your friend. You should be trustworthy, as we said. You can, trust them with your secrets. They should be helpful. They are there for you when you need them. Whether again it's something in this dunya or something for the akhirah. Also, they should be people who listen to you and validate your concerns. This is why this trust is built between the friends more than between the kids and the parents. Also, you should listen to their advice because they are good people. And mashallah, I give a very good example. You say, if I take a good friend, he will take me to the masjid. instead of taking me to the pub or to the club,
movie.
right, or a movie.
Yeah.
He will take me, to a place where I'm going to listen to something that will benefit me. Again, whether it's like something human sciences, you want to be a dentist. Can a Muslim be a dentist? It's halal.
Yes.
Alhamdulillah, it's halal to be a dentist. I hope that the parents they're not going to say it's haram, inshallah. Okay. But again, could I be a good Muslim while I'm a good dentist? Of course.
Yes.
The Sahaba were successful businessmen, right? Many of them. Yet they are the best, right? Excellent. So the Prophet ﷺ, when he advised us, he said, be careful when you choose that friend.
Yeah.
So because it will impact your life. It will impact your decision. It will impact your choices in this dunya, right? It will impact your entire personality and character.
So I have a question.
Yeah.
So in school or something, college, right? You sometimes have to make friends with the opposite gender, right? So is that what Islam said about that? Can you explain or something?
Excellent.
Yeah.
Now, look, I'm going to be the guest speaker. Is going to be the moderator, inshallah. I'm going to flip the roles, inshallah. That's a very good question, Nahid al-Islam, and I'm going to share the answer with our viewers. When you are at school, especially in this part of the world, where there is, co-education, like both genders are together, whether you are at school or at the university, and the way it is, the reality is, you're supposed to be a group, doing one project together, and you might have people from the opposite gender together. What should I do? I'll take you back to the time of the Prophet ﷺ. Was there interaction between the opposite genders at the time of the Prophet ﷺ? Do people have some times to deal with each other? Yes. Basically, first of all, there is nothing called friendship between a man and a woman. The only relationship between a man and a woman is marriage. Okay, so if you find someone and you're interested in them, you go through the door, you propose, and then you start the relationship. First, you start with the engagement period, and then it ends after that in the engagement period. Okay, yeah. So, but two people, for example, can they have another relationship? For example, a student-teacher relationship. As we said, people even working together, in a project as at school, and that's the context that we're talking about. Yes, there was interaction at the time of the Prophet. I'm going to give you some examples. There are certain conditions that we have to fulfill when it comes to that relationship. First of all, I'm talking about Muslims first. Girls should be dressed in hijab. And when they talk, because there will be, a necessity where there are situations where they have to talk. They shouldn't talk in a soft voice or in a seductive manner. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala addressed the mothers of believers, the wives of the Prophet ﷺ, and these are the best women in the history of mankind. And he said in Surah Al-Ahzab, Surah 33, ayah number 28, يا نساء النبي لستن كأحد من النساء إن اتقيتن فلا تخضعن بالقول فيطمع الذي في قلبه مرض وقلن قولا معروفا. Oh, women of the Prophet ﷺ, that's what he said. When you talk, إن اتقيتن فلا تخضعن بالقول. You should be God conscious, and you should not talk in a soft voice or in a seductive manner. Why? Because people who have a disease in their hearts, they might say, oh, she develops feelings for me, she's in love with me now, then they will react based on that disease in their hearts. So if you talk professionally the way it should be, then Allah said, وَقُلْنَا قَوْلًا مَعْرُوفًا. Make sure that what you say is something, good. It doesn't lead to any thing bad. So these are the wives of the Prophet addressed like that. What about the rest of women? Okay, let's talk about practical examples. At the time of the Prophet there was a Sahabiya called Asma bint Yazid. She came to the Prophet and she was entitled Khatib. She was a very good speaker. And also, a mujahid. She used to be in the battle, at the back, helping. So she said, Prophet of Allah, and the Prophet was sitting with the Sahaba. So she came in front of all of them and she said, Prophet of Allah, you as men, you go to the battle, you go to Hajj, you go to the Jum'ah, meaning you go into groups and there's risk of losing life and much physical effort and we're staying at home. like bearing your children, raising your children, cooking food, cleaning the house. Look at the question. How can we match you in reward? Allahu Akbar. Look at what she's asking for. She's not saying, I need I need to be compensated. She didn't talk about it. She said, how can we match you in reward? She's looking for the akhirah. Yeah. How can we get the same reward like you as men? And you know what the Prophet ﷺ did? She was standing in front of the Prophet ﷺ and the Sahaba. The Prophet ﷺ turned to the Sahaba. He said, have you seen a woman talking more eloquently than that woman? So he was so impressed by the way she talked. And then he turned to her and he said, go and inform those whom you represent. Like, go and talk to the women. Because she's like an ambassador. She's talking on behalf of other women, right? And حسن تبعل المرأة لزوجها يعدل هذا كله. If you take good care of your good Muslim husband, you will get the same reward, like, of men when they go to the battle, when they go to Hajj, and when they go for Jum'ah. Even though you are not, Another example, we have during Hajj, the Prophet ﷺ was on the back of the camel, and Al-Fadl, his cousin, Ibn al-Abbas, was behind him. And a young woman came, and she was beautiful. And she was asking the Prophet ﷺ a question. She talked to the Prophet ﷺ, and the Prophet ﷺ was answering, and Al-Fadl was looking at her. And the Prophet ﷺ did this to Al-Fadl. And then while she was still talking, Al-Fadl looked again, and the Prophet ﷺ did this to him 2 or 3 times. So that's an example of interaction. And when the Prophet ﷺ saw something that was wrong, he corrected it right away. Okay? Another example, we all know Salama radiallahu anha, who became the wife of the Prophet ﷺ later on after her husband passed away. She wanted to immigrate because her husband went to Medina, and her in-laws, they took her child from her, and they said, you have to choose between your husband or your child. If you want to immigrate, you leave your child behind. So she was under so much stress, subhanAllah. And then finally, because she kept crying and crying and crying, they gave her the son. Now she wanted to immigrate. So one of the Sahaba accompanied her all the way from Mecca to Medina. That was interaction too, right? But subhanAllah, look at the Sahaba and the way they interacted. He had the camel. He would get the camel down, and he will move a little bit away until she's on the back of the camel. Because if a woman wants to mount the camel, maybe part of her, body will be exposed. So he will just go and give her his back. And then once she's on the back of the camel, he's going to guide the camel. Why should we go far? Musa alayhi salam in the Quran, was there interaction between him and women? The answer is yes. Again, we say, we don't go and volunteer and do this, but this is the situation. He was there by the well when the men were coming to get water. And subhanAllah, what happened was he found 2 women, and they're keeping their cattle away, and they're waiting for the men to go. Look at the way he asked them. He said, Ma khatbukuma. The word khat means amr jali, something important, something serious. Why are you outside? Because mainly at that time, it was the men who will be working. They said, La nasqi hatta yusdar al-ra'a. We will not mix with the men. We're waiting for them to finish. Wa abuna shaykhun kabir. So they gave him the 2 excuses. Second, our father is a very old man, so he can't come to do it, so we have to. So out of manliness, this is manliness. What did he do? So he took the cover out of the well, and he helped them with the water, and then they left. And this is subhanAllah, when he went to the shade of the tree, and he said, Ya Allah, I'm very poor. You have given me so much, but I'm very poor. Because at that point, he was homeless. He was fugitive because he killed somebody by mistake in Egypt, and he's running away from there. And he's jobless, so he doesn't have money, he doesn't have a house. Look, by acting like this as a good person, and he didn't take advantage of these 2 women, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, softened the heart of the man, and he sent one of these women to call him. So when she came, she said, Inna abi yad'uka liyajziyaka ajra ma saqayta lana. My father wants to recompense you for the help that you offered. He just made dua. Ya Allah, I'm poor. Allah said, no. You're going to get a house, you're going to get a wife, you're going to get a job. Right away. So you see, this is the type of interaction. And I'm still focused on your question that there could be an interaction, but how that interaction would happen. And I'm using the Quran and the Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ and life of the Sahaba to give, guidance for that. So what happened is, he was walking behind her, and subhanAllah, while she was walking, he could see her heel. Subhanallah. You know what he did? He said, you walk behind me and you throw a pickle or a stone to tell me to go right or left. And once he arrived, subhanallah, what did she say to her father? She said, Ya abat istajir. Inna khayra man istajart al-qawi al-amin. She said, Father, hire him. Why? She mentioned two qualities of him as a good man. What were they? She said, al-qawi. How did she know that he's powerful? And she saw him taking the cover of the well, because that needs 10 men. But Musa alayhi salam took it only by himself. Al-amin, he's honest. Because when she walked in front of him, he could see part of her body. He said, no, you walk behind me. So these are examples of like real interaction, between men and women in Islam, and we can take that guidance from there, inshallah. So, we should be talking to the point. We should be, again, women should not be wearing perfume. They should not be, they should be dressed appropriately. But then what if there are some like people from different culture, different religion in that group? I can't force them to be dressed the way I like, but I can lower my gaze. That's my control. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, كُلُّ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ يَغُضُّ مِنْ أَبْصَارِهِمْ. Say to the believing men, to lower their gaze. Your teacher could be a woman, right? So I will look as there is a need, as much as there is a need for that look, and then when there is no need, I don't have to. So I should always check my intention while I'm doing what I'm doing. So these are like some of the tips when it comes to, yes, we have sometimes to interact, but these are the guidelines we should follow, inshallah, when we interact. Let me ask you a question. I want you to give some tips to the young ones who are at junior high now or high school, because you've already been through this and you're at the university now. When they come to the university, it's a different world. Sure. When they were at school, there was like, assembly, periods, classes, the ring would bell, end of a class. Yeah. If you're not in the class, everybody's going to be after you. If you don't show at the school, they're going to call your parents. There's a report card, but at the university, it's a completely different world. So what advice should you give the kids when they come to the university and try to make it relevant to friendship again?
So like as you said, in a school, you don't have that much choice. So basically you have to go to all the classes, and then there's bell rings. You see your friends in the classroom, but if you skip a class, obviously your parents gonna get a call, and you'll get questions where you've been, and then they'll know. But in a university, when you pay their fees for classes, teacher doesn't care. Honestly speaking, like if you show up in the class, it's up to you. You want to pass the class or fail the class, it's up to you. They take the money, and then now it's basically your life. You have to decide. So when you go to university, you get lots of freedom. But if you don't follow the right path, you can basically hurt yourself in like long run. So just say you took a class, but you decide not to go with your friends. You went to a cafe and eat something. All of a sudden there's an exam and you failed, right? So what you did, you failed the exam. It hurts your grades. Also, like if there's a prayer and then you decide not to go, but you like to like hang out with your friends, what you did, you destroyed your Imam too, right? Because you gave more, what is it called?
More chance?
Yeah, more chance. Like not chance, like more, basically you're saying Allah is not that important. Your friends is more important to you, right? So like it can really hurt you. So I would say like be careful with that. So you can have friends in classroom, you go to class and talk there, but don't skip classes and then just say, I'll go tomorrow or something like that. Yeah.
Excellent. I have a question. We mentioned something because like during your answer to one of the questions you said, and then your parents like will slap you or smack you. So one of the parents here is asking questions like, when can I smack my kids? Like is it permissible to beat them up? Like, give me that chance, Sheikh, give me permission, inshallah. And I'll share with you what the Prophet ﷺ did.
Yeah.
You know, like basically in like if we want to be friends, and this is why I want to make it relevant. You know, I'm not gonna move into just talking about parenting, but like I'm talking about if you want your kids to be your friends, and if you want them to open up and have that frank relationship with you, you need to work on that connection first from the very beginning. You know, sometimes, you know, when we were young and like, you know, you're like 2 years old or 3 years old, and you go and jump in front of your dad and say, how do you say it in your own language? Like, Abba? Yeah. Abba, Abba, Abba. And then he says, like, he's on the phone. And he says, Abba, Abba's like,
what's wrong with you?
And then the kid is going to do this. And then the dad's like, no, are you crazy? Are you just like interrupting me just to give me that emotionless face? Like, no, like, what do you mean? He's a kid. What is the kid looking for? Attention. Give me some time. Play with me. No, play with me. He's a kid. No, you bought me that game. I want to play with you. You know what I'm saying? So this is where the connection starts. So don't say that this kid, like, because when you come back home, you're not the accountant, you're not the dentist, you know, you are the father. So wear that hat and act like a father. Turn off that phone and give quality time to that kid if you want him to be your friend. Because, you know, that same kid, when the parent go to pick him up or her up from the school, and they're like elementary school or something, and they want to, subhanallah, they want to, let's say, share like a funny situation that happened to them at school. For the parents, this is something silly. I'm not going to be here to listen to, and you know, the pen fell off, and I went down to get the pen, and then I found out that my classmate, she needed a pen, and then I gave her a pen, and you know, you want to share something that happened. Yeah. And maybe, subhanAllah, you want to tell your parents that you are a cooperative person, you're a helpful friend at school, you're a helpful classmate, right? Yeah. But then once you start telling the stories, like, no. So showing no interest means that that kid gradually will turn off, and he's not going to share this. So show interest. Be an active listener. Do you know what's the meaning of active listeners? Like, oh, really? And then what happened after that? I'm proud of you. Then they're going to love to share with you. Yeah. So it's us as parents who decide to be friends with our kids or the opposite. You see what I'm saying? So next, when kids come and they want to share something, and you don't even listen to the end of the story. Sure. You make it one traffic, like it's one way, my way or the highway. Like, you listen to me. You're young. You don't understand anything in this life, and this is wrong. No. Then if I know from the very beginning that my life in Islam is a big no, there is no for everything, why should I come to you as a parent and talk to you? And then I'll end up making mistakes. Why? Because if you didn't give me advice, who's going to give me advice? I'm going to go to my bad friends. Yeah. Right? And I'm going to be negative like them. And then I'll end up making mistakes, and I'll try to hide them from you. And then if you discover, you're going to be mad at me. And then it starts like being very complicated. Right? But from the very beginning, if I give that chance to the children, give them their due time, the quality time, being an active listener, giving them advice, smiling, being positive, being inclusive, even when I give an advice. And instead of saying, you'll go to Jahannam if you don't do this, you'll go to Jannah if you do this. Just change the approach, right? Allah will love you if you don't talk back to your mom. Not Allah will take you to hellfire, inshallah, if you talk back to your mom next time. So being positive, being inclusive. You know, when Nuh alayhi salam talked to people, he said like, Ya qawmi. Even though those people gave him a hard time for 950 years, but he was still saying, oh my people. He didn't say, oh you kuffar. Yusuf alayhi salam is in jail. He's not depressed, he's not stressed, and he's making da'wah to idol worshippers. He didn't say, hey, you idol worshippers, keep a distance, please. No, he said, Ya sahibay sijn. Oh, my fellow prisoners. As if he's saying, you know, look, you're wearing this uniform, you're number 80, I'm 81, and you're 82. We're in jail together. He didn't say, hey, I'm Yusuf, the son of Yaqub, I'm a prophet. You can't talk to me directly. That's a lesson. Like, if we want our kids to be close to us and to take us as friends, we have to act like in a way that will draw them closer to us. So, did the Prophet ﷺ beat up anyone? Anas ibn Malik, a child who lived in the house of the Prophet ﷺ as a maid for 10 years. He said, for 10 years, I've never seen the Prophet ﷺ hitting any human being, an animal, or even inanimate objects. Subhanallah. That's the Prophet ﷺ, right? So, how should I raise my kids then when they make a mistake? Listen carefully. When they're young, from 1 to 7, they're kings. They can do whatever they want. Just make sure that you protect them not to hurt themselves. But keep a safe environment for them. Now, from 7 to 14, this is the critical age. This is when you start disciplining them. Hear that word? Because some people, I'm going to quote the hadith. I speak Arabic very well. The Prophet ﷺ said, عَلِّمُوا أَوْلَادَكُمُ الصَّلَاةَ لِسَبْعٍ. Teach your kids how to pray starting from the age of 7. It doesn't mean I can't start before that, because your kids, when they see you praying from the age of 1 year or 1 year and like even like 2 months, they can't even stand up. You know what they're gonna do? Once you start praying, you do this, they're gonna be standing next to you, and subhanAllah, they're gonna fall down. You go to sujood, they're gonna be jumping on you, using you as a camel. Al-Hasan Hussein used to do this to the Prophet ﷺ. Can you imagine the Prophet ﷺ was in a state of sujood one time, and he kept being in sujood for a very long time until the Sahaba, they said, we thought that he passed away. Either he passed out or he passed away. And then after the salah was over, they said, Prophet of Allah, your sujood was too long. He said, when I started the salah, Al-Hasan rode me like a camel, and I hated to stop his enjoyment. What type of mercy is this? Imagine I see some people now, if their kids come and do this, they're going to throw them away. I'm praying, astaghfirullah, you're spoiling my salah. Hold on. Show mercy. The Prophet ﷺ was giving the khutbah one time. The khutbah. How serious is the khutbah? And then he saw Al-Hasan and Hussein crawling amongst the people. You know what he did? You would be amazed. He came down. Yes, he left the khutbah. He came down and he carried both of them. He went back to the minbar and he completed the khutbah. If an imam does this today, the board, they're going to fire him. This is the practical example of the Prophet ﷺ. So when they are kids, just give them the freedom. 7 to 14, the Prophet ﷺ said, وَضْرِبُوهُمْ عَلَيْهَا لِعَشْرٍ. Meaning, the word yadrib, people translate this literally like, hit them, smack them, even slap them. No, the Prophet ﷺ told us it's forbidden to hit the face of someone. It's forbidden. It's haram to slap someone. Now, what should I do? Like the best translation for the word idribuhun in this hadith means discipline them. And ask your children. I'm going to ask Nahid now and everybody who's watching us. Some kids, when you keep beating them up, they become very stubborn. And they'll come to you and say, I made a mistake. Please hit me. They're waiting for that because it's meaningless to them. It doesn't affect them anymore.
True.
Right? So there are many other ways. And I'm going to give you secrets. Parents, take the kids away now. Take the cell phone away. Take the laptop away. You know what? The best way to know where your children are at the house, if you miss them, turn off the router. Everybody will come to you like, Dad, how are you? We love you. We miss you so much. What's going on, Dad? Like nothing. But there is no internet. I can't message my friends. You see, I can't message my friends. They don't miss you. They miss their friends. Because their friends get them to listen to what they like to listen to. But you're always criticizing. My dad, it means no or haram. Or at least makruh. There's nothing halal. There's no smile. There's no yes. So we have to change this. So the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ, discipline. By disciplining means, time out. Go to your room. Ground them. You know what? We're going out. We're staying at home. I'm going to buy all your siblings a gift because they behave well.
I'll give you a gift also, but not the same like them, until you start changing yourself. But be careful, because justice is an obligation on you when you deal with your kids. We sometimes create that animosity amongst them. You come back home, you have 3 kids. And subhanAllah, it's human nature. You might love one more than the other. That's fine. But don't show it in the way you talk or the way you behave. You can keep it in your heart. But sometimes, subhanAllah, you can't control this. You come back home and the loved one's like, hey, give me a hug. And the other one's like, no, hey, stay there. My goodness. You are destroying the relationship. You're killing that connection with your kids. And you know what? They're not going to only hate you, they're going to hate their brother too. Go to the story of Yusuf alayhi salam. Even though Yaqub alayhi salam did not do anything wrong, he was taking care of 2 kids, giving them more attention because they lost their mom. There's a valid reason. But I'm saying if your kids are almost now grown-ups, you have to treat them the same way. You give this one something, you have to give the other 2. Because the Prophet ﷺ, when he was approached by a man, he said, Prophet of Allah, be my witness because I'm going to give my child this and this and this. And the Prophet ﷺ said, do you have any other children? He said, yes, I have 10. He said, did you give all of them the same? He said, no. He said, go and ask another witness because I'm not going to be a witness for something which is unfair. This is very important. So these are ways, that we can, again, win the kids. When should children fast? Of course, we're already done with the 45 minutes. We're trying to answer questions. But be careful because I'm going to end up with a question for you, inshallah. So Sister Marwa Qasim, she's asking, when should children fast? Fasting becomes an obligation when the person attains their puberty, when they become adults. It could be, again, I can't give a definite answer because some kids, and the signs for the boy or the girl when they attain their puberty. Okay, so when the girl starts having her cycle, that means she attained her puberty. When the kid grows some hair here and there, and mashallah, you find their voice and they start having wet dreams, that means they attain their puberty. So it could be 12, it could be I'm talking about boys, it could be 12, it could be 11, it depends. And for the girls, it could be as early as 9, as 10, it depends. So these are the signs. But when should they start fasting? We should train them. I'm talking, it becomes an obligation. Once they attain their puberty, they have no excuse. They have to fast. Unless they have some, medical condition or something. Because sometimes, subhanAllah, kids today, they're born with diabetes. They're born with subhanAllah, with something that will make it very difficult for them. So if fasting will jeopardize their life, according to the doctor, then they shouldn't be fasting. But I'm talking about the normal people. So should I train them at an early age? You will see it at home. Kids from the age of 4, 5, 6, they're going to start I want to fast like you. Why are you fasting? You want to go to Jannah? I want to go to Jannah too. This is beautiful. But then you should start, training them. Meaning, you say, for you, because you're young, your Maghrib will be at Dhuhr, inshallah. So you fast between, Fajr until Dhuhr, inshallah, this year. And then at Dhuhr, you say, Yallah, this is your time to break your fast. And you give them iftar and say, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will reward you immensely for this. So they had the feeling we fasted, we achieved something. You build that, you empower, them with leadership and self-esteem. And then they say, next year, you know what? You will do it until Asr. MashaAllah, I made it. Excellent. Then now they're 9 or 10. No, let's try to make it until Maghrib. And if you find it very difficult for them, don't force them. It's just this is the training camp. This is the training camp for them. But then it becomes an obligation once they have attained their puberty. Okay. Now, after this long discussion, we still have about 5 minutes, unless we have some other questions, inshallah. I want to ask you, Nahid, and I'm sorry I took much of the time, and you switched my role, you made me the speaker. Based on what you heard about the importance of friendship and interaction with the opposite gender and bad friends versus good friends, the parents, I want you to give some tips to the parents, how to create that bond and connection from an early age so that they can be their friends. And also you give advice to the young people watching us too, on like how to establish a friendship with their family and how also to maintain a balance in their friendship with their kids. Don't show your parents that you are like, I don't want to talk to you, but in the meantime, try to help your parents to be your friends.
So if I start with the parents, right? So when they started to go to school, right? You will see like when kids go to school, they'll cry because they don't want to leave their parents, right? It's a common thing.
Yeah.
But when they go to school and they see friends, they want to come home and then share with their families, right? Like parents, because they were their best friends before. So in that time, if they continue to build up that relation continuously, even ask if they didn't they don't share what happened to the school, parents should ask, hey, what did you do in the school and what did you make any friends? Then that how they can know who is he going with, right? And also if he's making any wrong decision, then maybe they can advise him, hey, you don't do that, like go to this and choose that friend, he's really nice, kind of those things. And with the youth, I would say like trust your parents. They are here to uh help you. They are not gonna hurt you. They want your future to be a good. That's why they sometimes yell at you, right? But in the meantime, you have to keep the bonding between parents and children. Like sometimes when you are angry at them, you don't talk to them, you go out and then you're like, I'm not going there. Come back and then talk to them what happened. Try to solve it together, not no, I'm gonna not talk to him, he said to this because I have this friend, why I went outside. Maybe there was a reason that's why he was yelling at you, but I would say make the contact and try to resolve it in solve it with your parents. And parents, yeah, they should listen to, main thing is their children first and then make a say something. Because if you don't listen to a whole thing, maybe you're in the middle of the part and he's saying something negative, then but at the end there was a good part too, right? But you started making a comments like, hey, why you did it here? Like, no, I didn't. Then he's gonna say, then if you didn't do that, then why there was a bad conflict over there and this and that. So they don't, I would say finish whole thing and then make a decision and tell them, give them advice like what you should do, what you shouldn't do. Yeah.
Excellent, mashallah. So parents, I hope that you listen to this piece of advice from our guest today, Nahidul Islam, is listen to your kids, make the conversation like a two-way traffic. You listen to the end and then give advice, be positive, be inclusive, and encourage them to have friends. You don't have to force friends on them, but just monitor from far away. Make sure that they have good friends, invite them to your house, and then make sure that you give them that space to make mistakes because they're kids. And when they make mistakes, be merciful when you want to correct their mistakes. Speak in a positive way. Tolerate some of their mistakes. Forgive them for that. Build that positive relationship. And I will conclude with this nice story. I remember my son when he was elementary school, he came to me one day, he said, Dad. I said, yes. He said, I want to have, man talk with you. Let's go to your room. I said, okay, let's go. And he said, do you know that girl called Miranda, who sits next to me in the class? And I'm like, okay. He said, she fractured her ankle and she's in cast now. She doesn't come to school. I said, okay. And then he said, I feel sad because she's not in the class. I said, okay. He said, what do you call this? I said, I have no idea. Then he looked at me and said, Dad, come on. What do you call this? I said, advise me. What do you call it? He said, I think it's called love. And I was embarrassed as a dad. The reason I'm sharing this is can you imagine a kid in the elementary school coming to share something very personal? Why? Because he knows I'm not going to yell at him like, astaghfirullah, haram, you're a kid. What do you think about this? It's human feelings, right? So I just channeled that into a positive way. You know what I'm saying? I said, it's always good, to have feelings for people and to miss them and this and this. But then I started saying, are you ready to marry, inshallah? And he smiled. He doesn't know what marriage is. Okay? But subhanAllah, it's amazing when I went back home, back home, not here in this part of the world, I saw my nephew. And he just took me. He was also maybe two or 3 years older. He said, Uncle? I said, yes. He said, you're open-minded. My dad has issues with temper. I want to talk to you. Can we talk privately? I said, let's go. And then he said, you know Fatima, our neighbor? And I'm like, oh my God, these kids, they're talking about this. And this one it was even more serious. I said, like, hey, go ahead. He said, you know, I don't see her like coming out of the house for the last week, and I feel like I miss her. I was like, what do you mean by I miss her? I said, Uncle, I thought that you're open-minded. I'm like, teach me, man. Like, we're friends, right? Just tell me. He said, I think I love her. He's like, what do you mean by love? He said, how did you meet your wife, Uncle? And I'm like, look at this. You and I, at this age, at this era of technology, we think that these are kids. They don't know anything. Hey, wake up, parents. They know lots. And they know how to use the laptop more than you. You're lagging behind. You have to take courses. Because when you go and visit them at 1 o'clock when they are at high school or at the university, they're doing Qiyamul Layl, mashallah. But you know what type of Qiyamul Layl? They have so many browsers out there. But once you come in, they're going to minimize everything and you'll hear this to this. وَسَارِعُوا إِلَى مَغْفِرَةٍ مِّن رَبِّكُمْ وَجَنَّةٍ. And you say, Allahu Akbar, mashallah. My kid is not only studying, he's also listening to the Quran. Allahu Akbar, what a righteous child. You're going to go give him a hug and say, keep doing this. Like you should be proud of me, Dad. Once you step out, he's back to watching Netflix. And then, when do you discover this? When the report card comes at the end of the month. What is this? That's a C. And mashallah, you're doing Qiyam al-Layl. I don't know, Dad, like what's wrong with these teachers? Like, you know, like I'm sure I did well, but I don't know. So, brothers and sisters, just wanted to put a smile on your face before we go. Take care of your kids. Befriend them. Tolerate. Be positive. Be inclusive. And until I see you next week, inshallah, with a new guest to talk about one of the challenges of the young people in our community, I would say, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. And don't forget, inshallah, on Tuesday, we have something which is a big surprise. What is it? It is going to be the night of the 27th. Tonight could be Laylatul Qadr because it's 25th. But Tuesday, also the 27th, could be Laylatul Qadr. We have a very special program for you on that night. We're not going to talk for 10 minutes as usual. In the Taraweeh reminder, we're going to double the time for you. So expect a unique program on Tuesday, inshallah. And after that, on Wednesday, we have our regular Ramadan live Q&A. Until then, I would say, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Smile.